Hey, this is Scott Kokenauer, and I am so glad that you joined me today because we're going to talk about something that's very dear to my heart, and I am so glad. Hope you're doing well today. I hope that the pandemic is not getting the best of you. If it is, there's a lot of good resources out there on the internet on helping you with pandemic fatigue. I know I've dealt with that before, and it's good for us to just hold each other up when we need to. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today is the topic of rest, excellent rest. We are in the system called physical excellence, and within physical excellence there is an element of rest, very important element. Let's go into our three coaching questions. All right. So the first coaching question is, how do you recreate? How do you recreate? The second question, how well has your sleep been the past 2 weeks? How has your sleep been the last 2 weeks? And thirdly, how much margin in life do you have? How much margin in life do you have? Margin is that area of space I like to call the shock absorber of the potholes in the road of life. That's kind of poetic. I know I'm not that much of a poet, but when we have margin and when the things happen, whether it's a financial or an emotional or a spiritual, whatever roadblock or pothole that you hit in the road, margin is what will give you the ability to bounce back. We'll talk about margin in the coming episodes, but those are your three coaching questions. All right, let's go to the 2 pillars of excellence. So the first pillar that we're talking about today is we don't rest from our work. We don't rest from our work. What do we do? Well, flip those words around. We work from our rest. We work from our rest. We don't rest from our work. There are two different things going on here. One is if you look at it as though you rest from your work, in other words, okay, I'll take a break when I'm done with this project. I will take a break when I'm done with this project. That's the mentality of resting from your work. I'm going to share a photo. Those of you listening on podcast won't be able to see this, but it's a picture of chicken bones that have been eaten. Oh, well, the meat has all been eaten. It's a bowl of chicken bones. This is what happens when happens to our rest when we look at rest as though we rest from our work. It's the last thing. Rest gets our leftovers. Here's the problem. If I say I'm going to rest after I'm done, what happens if I never really get done? Well, then the amount of rest that I give is smaller and smaller and smaller until we just keep working and we keep working until exhaustion sets in, and then we are forced to rest. That's the problem with looking at rest as though we rest from our work. But when we look at it as though we are resting from our work, it is now an investment. When rest comes first, then the work comes afterward. We work from our rest, meaning we are investing in future energy exertion. When I go to bed at night, when you go to bed at night, Look at that as the beginning of your day. That's the beginning of your day. Tomorrow, I'm back. So, when we go to bed at night and the quality of our sleep, it's from that rest that we take and work the next day. When you wake up in the morning, you are given two tremendous resources that are no longer renewable. Number one is time. Once the time is over, you can't go back and get time again. The same is true with the second resource, which is energy. You are given a packet of energy. Now, when I say given a packet of energy, you have a lot to do with that packet of energy. It's how much you rest ahead of it. So we don't rest from our work. We work from our rest. That's the first pillar. The second pillar is that rest has many faces. Rest has many faces. We're going to look at 5 of those faces in this episode. The first one is freedom. So, when the locus of control is outside of you, it's like feeling that you're being controlled by other people, circumstances, or whatever. When we're in that state, we aren't free. When we aren't free, we aren't resting. Instead, you can get the locus of control inside of you, and you can start downloading everything out of your head, and you can take a look at everything that's going on, and it will make you feel like you are in control. When we feel like we're being controlled, it's like being chained. We are imprisoned by circumstances. We can literally turn that around by how we look at what we're facing. Now, I'm going to share with you 5 separate websites based on my research. When it has to do with the locus of control, verywellmind.com, let me take this off, shares with us the difference between the locus of control being internal versus external. Let's look at those. An internal locus of control means you are more likely to take responsibility for your actions. When it's external, you blame outside forces for your circumstances. You often credit luck or chance to any successes. When it's internal, you tend to be less influenced by the opinions of other people. There's the freedom. When it's outside of you, you don't believe that you can change your situation through your own efforts. When it's internal, you often do better at tasks when they're allowed to work at your pace, when you are allowed to work at your own pace. When the locus is outside of you, you frequently feel hopeless or powerless in the face of difficult situations. You see on the right side, when the locus is outside of us, we are imprisoned. When it's inside, you usually have a stronger sense of self-efficacy. And you tend to work hard to achieve the things you want. And you feel confident in the face of challenges, and you tend to be physically healthier. All of those sorts of things take place when the locus of control is internal. That leads to freedom. Freedom is one face of rest. Let's go to the second face. So if we go to the second part, or the second face of rest, that is recreation. Recreation, to recreate. It's to create again. It includes play for the sake of play, engaging in the favorite hobby that makes time slip by quicker, whatever it is that you enjoy doing. The benefit is that by recreating, you are replenishing the chemicals in your brain that support good health. Now, knowledgereview.com talks about the physical health. Look at this with me. Recreational activities, especially outdoor ones, improve one's health, like maintaining lower body fat percentages, lowering blood and cholesterol levels, increasing muscular strength and endurance, body composition, and cardiovascular endurance. Overall, and energy level, resulting in more focus for academic activities, besides also having an impact on one's class attendance. This resource is in light of schooling, but it's basically health is wealth. Recreational activities lead to a healthier mind, a healthier body. That is another face of rest. Let's go to the third, and that is relaxation. We understand this because when we think of rest, R&R usually goes rest and relaxation. Relaxation, this is the most common form or face of rest. You probably understand this word already, but don't be fooled. Relaxing doesn't mean processing email on the couch instead of at your desk. It's setting a boundary around what uses up your energy. Keep in mind that although you enjoy what you're doing, it doesn't seem like work. It's using up energy just the same, but it doesn't seem like work. Relaxing is pulling aside, well, to rest. So we look at the mayoclinic.org, and there's a page here talks about the benefits of relaxation techniques. Look at the list here: slowing heart rate, lowering blood pressure, slowing your breathing rate, improving digestion, maintaining normal blood sugars, reducing activity of stress hormones, and the list goes on and on. Relaxation is a very important face of rest. Let's look at the fourth one, and that is fellowship. And I'm looking at southuniversity.edu for this resource, and we're going to scroll down here, and it says, as humans, social interaction is essential to every aspect of our health. Research shows that having a strong network of support or strong community bonds fosters both emotional and physical health and is an important component of adult life. Over the years, there have been a number of studies showcasing the relationship between social support and the quality of physical and psychological health. As I record this, we're, probably 10 months into a known pandemic that we have been facing called COVID. And we have been encouraged to be socially distancing. It's an interesting thing because the power that we are missing in social interacting is evident. We are naturally drawn to be social human beings. We are social beings. And so we need to be social. If you've ever been in a down state and you have called up a friend or a friend stopped by and you had a conversation and notice after that conversation, or maybe even during that conversation, that your spirits have been lifted. When you have a conversation with a good friend, chances are, and in all likelihood, your blood pressure relaxes, you get excited, your spirits literally lift. There is so much power in fellowship, which is our fourth face of rest. Let's look at the final one, and that is absolutely nothing. That's the fifth face of rest. Let me come up here. I found on sites.instead.edu, there is a paper written by Manfred F.R. Ketz de Vries, and it's entitled Doing Nothing and Nothing to Do. the hidden value of empty time and boredom. And what he does is he makes a case for the benefits of being bored. Let me read a part of his abstract. In this article, I suggest that doing nothing and being bored can be invaluable to the creative process. In our present networked society, introspection and reflection have become lost arts. Instead, we are at risk of becoming victims of informational overload. The balance between activity and inactivity has become seriously out of sync. However, doing nothing is a great way to induce states of mind that nurture our imagination. Slacking off may be the best thing we can do for our mental health. Seemingly inactive states of mind can be an incubation period for future bursts of creativity. Notice the connection here. An incubation period for future bursts of creativity. Remember what we said earlier. We don't rest from our work. We work from our rest. We burst with creativity from our incubation period. That's the fifth and final phase of rest that we're going to cover today. Now, there's going to be a download on servingstrong.com/Friday, and it is what I've been working after. There is an action step for you to take. We review the 5 phases of rest there. You will find those there. Also, as we scroll down to the bottom or close to the bottom of servingstrong.com/Friday, you will see in the show notes and downloads a section here, the 5 links on rest. And those are the 5 websites that I showed you today. I've curated 5 helpful parts that are pieces of information that will help you craft your excellent physical system having to do with rest. That's internal and external locus of control. Third, the benefits of relaxation. Fourth, why being social is good for you. And number 5, the hidden value of empty time and boredom. Those are your 2 pillars of excellence. So now what we're going to do is talk about the takeaway. What is our takeaway? Well, that is for you to download the 5 phases of rest. You'll see it in the downloads section, which will be just above the links that I just shared with you. There's the existing downloads that are already there from previous episodes, but this episode will be the 5 phases of rest download. Do that and do the activity that is on that page. I want to thank you again for coming and being with me today. This has been a very important thing for me to study for myself. We're as I do this episode, we are on the brink of Christmas and New Year's, and it would be a beautiful time for you to get these resources and start building your own physical excellence using rest. I hope this has been helpful for you, and I want to thank you for taking your time. Now, before we leave, I want to remind you that I'm really excited about the program that will be beginning in January, the first Monday of January, and it's called the 95 Club. Anything that you are trying to accomplish in 2021, call it a New Year's resolution, a goal, an intention, anything that you're trying to accomplish. I've set up a program where for starting at 55 cents a day, you can be a part of a small group of other people who are pursuing their goals. And you check in every Monday, either at 8 a.m. Eastern or 8 p.m. Eastern. And we check in briefly. And that whole process is based on research that shows that when you have a regular report in with someone else, you increase the probability of the success of achieving that goal by 95%. That's why we're calling it the 95 Club. If you want to know more about that, just go to servingstrong.com/95. Thank you so much for your participation. I really appreciate it. We'll see you next Friday.